Hi there, students. Leeway. Leeway is an uncountable noun, talking about the amount of freedom to move or act available to someone. So, for example, if a government has a large majority, then it has a lot of leeway to introduce legislation. It could introduce more contentious legislation than it might if it had a small majority. Okay, it's the amount of freedom that you have to move. My friend said meet him at 10 o'clock, but he's normally late, so we have a little bit of leeway. We could arrive a little bit early or a little bit late, in this case a little bit late, and it wouldn't matter, it wouldn't be a problem. Okay, so there's leeway to move. There's like a give in the system. The orders that they gave me were very general. They were not specific. So like that, I had a lot of leeway to act in specific situations. I had a lot of freedom of action, freedom to move, okay? If the orders are absolutely explicit, then I have no leeway at all. But if they're general, then I have a little bit of leeway. Okay, leeway comes from ships, from boats. It's a nautical word. Let's see, if you're in a boat and it's going along and the wind is blowing from one side, this will deviate the ship's course. The leeway is the angle that the ship's course is deviated from the direction that it's steering in. Okay, it's measured normally in degrees. So there was a high wind, but the ship was only had 2 degrees of leeway, so it's moving away. Notice leeward, away from the wind, and lee is the side of something which is sheltered from the wind. Okay, so downwind, if you like. On the lee side of the building, the side where the wind wasn't blowing. Okay, so leeward, away from the wind. So, leeway, the freedom that you have to act. We also use leeway as to mean a safety margin. So, there is not much leeway if there are problems. There's not much safety margin. The finance is very tight, is very restricted on this project. So there is no leeway if there are difficulties. Yeah? There's no extra cash, there's no leeway, no movement in it. Your boss could give you leeway to act or not. Rules can give leeway. Maybe laws don't give a lot of leeway unless they're badly written. So leeway, extra space. If you take the later train, you will have leeway in case you are delayed. We can also use leeway to mean lost time or lost space. So, for example, the student was ill for a month and didn't go to school, so he had a lot of leeway to make up in his studies. Or maybe in a race, one person is ahead of the other, and you could try and make up the leeway. If you like, the drift. Yeah, and that's the idea. Okay, so leeway is talking about your freedom to act, how restricted it is, if it's very restricted or not at all restricted. Yeah? So, a safety margin, a freedom of action. So what about formality? I think leeway is a neutral word in formality, although it's quite a posh word. It sounds really quite good. but it's definitely a word you could use in the pub. Okay, so leeway, the freedom that you're given to act within the rules or framework that you've been given. The leeway, the movement of a boat by the wind away from its projected course. The lee side, the side that is protected by the wind. So do you think English gives a lot of leeway for different constructions? Yeah, I think English is pretty flexible, and there is quite a lot of leeway to put things in different ways. Anyway, enough. If you enjoyed the video, give it a rating, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Leeway.